This is the new BMW M4. On the plus side, it has a 503 horsepower, 3-litre twin turbocharged 6-cylinder engine. And then it also has this nose.
So the signs from the inside are initially not necessarily any more auspicious than those from the outside. For example, these seats, which are not standard, have this bizarre carbon fibre thing in the middle. I'm not sure what you're supposed to rest on it. I think I'd have to be a lot more excited about seeing this car than I am to be of any use, but they are just a bit weird. They feel for effect because it makes sense in a Formula 1 car or a single-seater. It locks your legs in place, you brake with that foot, you accelerate with that foot. In a road car, just a bit weird. And then there are the other things. Well, the thing called a 1725 kilogram curb weight, 1800 kilos if you include the 75 kilogram driver and fuel allowance that the EU does when it makes its numbers up, although 75 kilos for fuel and a driver means either not a lot of fuel or not a lot of driver. And I just wonder if, and I've had this thought before, that maybe what BMW means by an M car is somewhat different to what you and I think of as an M car, certainly from the off. And I've thought this about the previous couple of M3s, and it is maybe why BMW introduced the M2. The M3 has grown. I mean, maybe remember how small and compact the E30 was. It's grown into such a car that there's been space for an M2, sometimes even a 1M coupe, to slot underneath it and become the car that this used to be. So I just think that what I think an M3/M4 is and what BMW thinks an M3/M4 is are not necessarily the same thing. This car has morphed more towards being like an AMG over the years. When you see how many AMGs they sell, maybe that's not a surprise. But it is worth looking deeper. Because remember, when all said and done, this is a 510 horsepower, 485 pound-foot, 3-litre straight-six turbocharged BMW with rear-wheel drive, an engine in the front, and electronically controlled limited slip differential. How bad can that be? Well, the answer is not bad at all. If I go into this little menu here, which is quite easy to work out actually compared to some rivals, you end up with settings for engine, chassis, steering and brake. You want the brake straight away, I can tell you, in sport setting. It gives two kind of pedal definitions, one of which is incredibly soft, and the other one gives the kind of meat to the retardation that you would expect from a sports car. It ought to be kind of in sport all the time. The chassis in comfort has also sport and sport plus settings. On the road in the UK, comfort is fine. There are some roads in which it's still a little bit, when you get bad roads, it's still a little bit firm, if anything. But by and large, comfort is good. Steering affects the steering weight rather than introduces any more feel or anything like that. But again, it's good. And if you really then say, okay, what kind of car is this? It reveals itself to be the kind of driver's car that you want an M BMW to be. Today I'm on gloriously sunny springtime roads in the south of England, which is lovely, but what I can't do is press the ESC off button and go into all of the menus and enter the sort of drift mode where it assesses how good you are at sliding. So have a look at that. There is a video elsewhere on this channel where we take the M3 and pitch it against an Alfa Giulia Quadrifoglio on circuit only. There's no road driving in that test, there is no track driving in this test, but within the confines of a 60 mile an hour limit and what we can do sensibly on the road, let's see just what this car can do. It's funny, at idle it makes a sort of quite a growly, grumbly noise, which sounds a lot more 6-ish as you wind it up. That was second gear, you can feel it trouble the back wheels even in the dry in 10 degrees, and it's not as if it's on stone cold tyres, so it has a lot of power and a lot of torque. It's the sort of car that really does make for easy overtaking because it's just got oodles of power and torque on tap. If you whack it across, it'll stay in the gears that you select, and as with some of the other drive modes, you can select how aggressively it changes gears if you leave it to its own devices, how long it holds on to gears for. And it is reasonably easy to select that too. It's just on the back of the gear lever down there, and you can feel for it without having to take your eyes off the road, which is quite handy. Ditto, like I say, the multimedia system. Touchscreens are very handy. They allow over-air updates and things like that. So my steering at the moment is in light. My exhaust is loud. I'm going to turn it down. I can put the steering into sport, add some weight to it. German cars get tested on the Autobahn in development a lot, so they're very stable around straight ahead, and this is no exception. German roads are much smoother than British roads, which is why sometimes in comfort, even that's a bit too knobbly. And when all is said and done, this corners really impressively with loads of poise, not loads of steering feel, a little bit of roll and lean, but just with a really nice balance. It's really fast, actually, too fast for the roads, as are all sports cars these days. And so ultimately it is a really capable, if slightly fidgety, grand touring sports car with a cracking engine and loads of power. If you want a more lightweight, more agile sports car, then, well, an M2 should be your choice. But as big, bruising sports coupes go,